So I believe that it's super important to seek purity, to forgive, to let go, and really get to be who you really are. Now, I believe that our egos can harm us sometimes. Okay, I've seen in my own journey that the more that I wanted to operate from separation, the more that I wanted to hurt something, was the more that I was actually hurting myself. And what I'm realizing is the fact that the things that I have to deal with in my own life are the things that are happening with my inner state of consciousness. And I believe that it's so important to get to seek purity. Okay, seek purity. Realize that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Realize that you are the vibration of love. I believe that the universe is actually love. The universe is love. And the more that we learn to connect to this deeper state of consciousness, the more that we learn to connect to this source, is the more that we actually seek purity. And it's not easy, especially when we are wounded, especially when we want to take revenge maybe, especially when we are trying to harm another. But what I'm realizing is the fact that whatever we are projecting into the world will actually return to us threefold times. Okay, so whatever you are doing onto the world is what you are doing onto yourself. And today's message is about making you guys realize that you can actually connect to the vibration of love and begin operating as innocence, begin operating as higher consciousness, begin operating as your true, most authentic self. So realize that when we come into this world, we actually come pure. Okay, we come pure. We come as a vibration of innocence. And what I'm realizing is the fact that we gotta learn to really get to return to that state of consciousness. And I believe that it's so important to learn to forgive. Okay, to learn to forgive. And you have to also realize that sometimes you make mistakes. So you don't have to expect yourself to be perfect. You don't have to expect yourself to be perfect. You make mistakes. You may operate sometimes from the ego, from lower vibrations. But you have to learn to make the most out of your experiences. Okay? So realize that there is a choice between the love and the fear. And usually the ego operates from fear. There is a choice between harmony and chaos. And usually the ego operates from chaos. But when you let go and when you step into who you really are, you realize that you cannot actually harm another, because you are realizing that you are actually doing it to yourself. So seek purity, and it begins with purifying your physical body. It begins with purifying your mental plane and your emotional field. It also begins with starting high vibrational actions and offering something positive into the world. Okay, so realize that your state of consciousness is of a pure vibration, but when we get disconnected, when we are operating from the impurities, we're actually becoming negative. We are becoming not who we're meant to be. And today's message is a reminder of your own power. Okay, so realize that when you operate from love, you operate from higher consciousness. And of course, sometimes you may get triggered. Sometimes you may feel like hating. Sometimes you may feel like operating from separation and a low vibration. But you have to learn to let go. You have to learn to step into your own evolution. And what I believe to happen is the more that we grow spiritually, is the more that we open our hearts to the vibe of forgiveness, of love and abundance. Okay, so realize that things that are happening into your own life, you don't need to react to those things. When somebody hurts you, when somebody projects your ego onto you, you don't have to react, but more likely you have to respond from the vibration of authenticity and higher consciousness. Okay, so realize that the more that you look within yourself, and the more that you are reprogramming yourself, is the more that you realize that you're actually the world. Okay, so in higher vibration, there is no separation. Okay, there is no separation. There is only one energy, and that is the oneness of the universe, the oneness of the world. Okay, so when you awaken yourself, you realize that you cannot actually harm another, because you are only doing it to yourself. So in the spiritual awakening journey, so many of us, we have the opportunity to step into a higher way of being. We have the opportunity to step from the separated ego into the connected higher self. And what I'm realizing is the fact that there's only one of us here, guys. Okay, there's only one of us here, and that is oneness. That is higher consciousness. That is the vibration of love. Now, things that are keeping you into a low vibration are gossiping, for example, are addictions. I have addictions myself still, but I'm trying as much as possible to purify my physical body, because I'm realizing that the more that I have addictions is the more that I'm actually hurting my energy. So addictions, okay, so try as much as possible to let go of your own addictions, and you do this by accepting even the shadow. You do this by accepting even a negative emotion. You do this by learning to connect more to nature. Okay, so connect more to your natural way of being. And another thing that lowers your vibration is wishing bad onto others, okay, and jealousy, maybe separation, the idea of lack. Realize that in the universe there is no lack, there is only abundance, and your natural state of consciousness is actually abundance. So the more that you learn to do what nature does, is the more that you are receiving higher vibrations, is the more that you are receiving the consciousness of love and purity. Okay, so do what nature does. Okay, nature grows at a harmonious level, nature evolves at a harmonious level, and when you are connected to your body, you are also connected to the present moment. So focus more into the now. Focus more into the now and see what happens. And what I'm realizing is the fact that when we are hurting the planet, when we are hurting each other, we're actually creating negative blocks in our energy field. I have had some of these blocks myself, and what I was realizing was the fact that I had to take responsibility. I had to take responsibility for how I was choosing to express myself. Okay, so realize that you have to cleanse your own energy. Okay, you have to cleanse your own energy, and it all starts with purifying yourself. It all starts with stepping from victim into innocence. Okay, you have to operate as a child, because deep down into your own nature, you're actually pure. Okay, you're actually pure. You are the vibe of love. You are as a kid, as a child. Okay, so realize that you have to look within yourself, and you really need to learn to balance your own state of consciousness. You need to learn to balance your own energy, and you do this with meditation. You do this with taking full responsibility for what is happening within yourself. You do this by really unlocking your power and your gifts. You do this by stepping into who you really are. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you have to be authentic and set boundaries. Okay, so you don't have to maybe accept anything, or you don't have to accept everything. Sometimes you have to learn to say no. Sometimes you must learn to place some limitations upon your own energy. So it's also okay to be authentic and be yourself. If you dislike something, that may be authentic. If you don't resonate with something, that may be authentic. But at the same time, don't harm another. Don't harm another. Okay? Because in essence, it is actually you. Every single one is only a reflection of you, and it is in essence another version of you. So realize that here on planet Earth, and maybe in the whole universe, everything is actually interconnected, and there is no separation. Separation is about the ego, and oneness is about higher vibrations. So we're all one energy, one consciousness. And the more that we learn to really operate from who we really are, is the more that we make the world become a better place. Okay, so I think that this is today's message on seeking purity. Okay, be pure, and yes, I still have maybe sometimes I have moments where I'm not operating from purity. Maybe sometimes I have moments where I still have addictions myself. But I'm doing my best in order to evolve my way of being and my own state of consciousness. And I'm realizing that it's not easy, but it's worth it. Okay, so thanks so much for watching, guys, and like always, see you on what is coming up next. This was today's message about seeking purity. Be who you really are and realize that you have the choice of love inside of your own heart. Much peace, and like always, see you on what is coming up next. Bye bye.